Hey guys, Dennis from DC Supershine here. I'm here with my buddy Giovanni. We're going to be doing some training on this Kenworth. I'm going to show him how to sand and polish this tank, and we're going to get right into it. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do some high-speed sanding here. We're going to do this center part of the tank to show you how it's done. We're going to use 180, 320, 400, and 600 grit.
Okay.
Now, when you're doing high-speed sanding, you can finish in two ways. So by finishing is basically it's going to make your polishing process a little bit easier. Okay, so one way is to up your grit, to use an 800 or 1,000 sheet of sandpaper to make your surface a little bit smoother, or you can use your DA sander with a 600 grit paper again over the other 600 just to smooth out your surface and remove some of the lines and stuff like that. Okay, so today we're just going to do the high speed. We're not going to use this. But this, if you have this as a backup, or if you don't have any higher grit sandpaper, you can use this.
Sweet.
Okay. So your machine, you want it set at 3,500 RPM, so or 3,000. You know, whatever the highest speed that your variable speed is going to go to. This is at 3,500, so we'll set it at 3,500, and we'll get going with the first grits.
Now you want to apply light to medium pressure.
Something I forgot to mention is whenever you're sanding, the first grit that you start with is always the bulk of your work. Okay, so we're starting with 180.
Yeah.
So basically you're going to use more sandpaper and spend more time on your 180 than all the other grits probably.
Exactly.
Okay. So how often do you change your paper? It depends on how bad it is. This tank is, I'd say, probably medium to heavily oxidized, and there's a fair amount of scratches. So I just basically go by feel. So whenever it starts to feel where it's not really cutting anymore, I change my paper. When you're using high speed, definitely use this paper quicker. Okay?
Of course, yeah. Of course.
Okay. So this here, that's my first pass. I'm not really happy with the finish because you want your 180, like a lot of these pits and scratches and stuff, you want those out before you start with your next grit. Okay. So there's still going to be a little bit left and stuff like that when you start your 320, but you want a little bit better than this.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to go over that again. I'm going to get a little bit higher, and then I'll let you do this section here.
Cool.
Okay? Just basically going to get it to where I want you to see what it should look like.
Okay, using the 180 grit.
Using the 180, yeah. All the other grits after are easy. You're basically just removing the center marks from the prior grit. So
exactly. And your lines are going across, going upwards.
Yeah, your 320 is going to basically smooth out your 180, your 400 smooths out your 320, so on and so forth. And then by the time you're done and you've done your 800 or your 1000, you're ready to polish.
Sweet.
Alright,
Sweet.
so I'll let you start. Now, whenever you're doing this part here, okay? Like I was using, the pressure was on this side,
Yep.
and it's a little bit easier because whenever you're doing it, it's pulling up. This side here, you're going to be putting your pressure on the other side, so it's turning this way, so the pressure is going to be going down.
Downwards.
Okay, so you're going to have to compensate for that. So I just do my bottom part. I'll start like about here. I'll go, you know, to make it even to my other side here, and then I come back and I continue my top, and I move. All
Okay.
right?
Cool.
Just make sure you keep a constant flow. Aluminum is soft. If you stop too long in one spot, you're going to groove your tank. Okay, so you want to keep your flow moving. Okay.
Get to her.
pass, because there's a few lines here still that you want to get out, some scratches from the
Okay.
boots and stuff from whenever the person gets into the truck.
Yeah.
And then there's a few scratches up here you want to get out. And this is awesome, that's one thing I didn't tell you to do, but you did anyways. You stopped right at the right spot. You don't want to go too far underneath the cab where it's too hard and you can't get in there with the machine, and then you're stuck trying to get center marks out by hand. And that's a bitch to do. So you stopped at the right spot. Whenever we do the sides and stuff like that with the DA, we can probably get a tad higher than that, because we can sort of kind of get right up at about here with the machine.
Yeah.
But you stopped at the perfect spot.
Sweet. So,
Okay,
I'm gonna
so
go
grab
ahead
it, yeah, put another piece of paper on there, switch out your paper, and do those scratches, and we should be good to go and move on to the next grip.
Super. It sticks good.
Uh-huh.
It sticks really good.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Okay guys, so all the sanding's been done right up to 1,000 grit. So we went 180, 320, 400, 600, and finished with 1,000. That's what it should look like. You should already start having a little bit of a shine to it, a little bit of a gleam. You can sort of kind of see a little bit of a reflection there. And now we are set up for polishing. So let's get into that. Okay, so what you want to do here, this is a brand new pad. So you have your rake here. You're going to want to soften up the end of your pad just so your bar can move a little bit better. And then you can start polishing. So what I do, I always work by sections. Okay, so that would be one section. This center part here is just, it's a little too long to keep doing this. It's just too hard on your body, on your back and all that kind of stuff. It's hard on the arms.
Yeah.
So I separate it in half. So I'll do half of it and I'll let you do the other half. Okay, so I always, when the center parts are a little bit bigger, even sometimes you get sometimes on
The extended tanks.
yeah, Western Star tanks sometimes are super, super long, so I'll even do it in 3 or 4 sections. Okay, and then once you do is then once that's done, then you blend everything in after, which I'll show you how to do, okay?
Perfect.
So my bottom part, I've been doing this a long time. I'm just used to doing it this way. A lot of people ask me, why is the handle on this side? It's just what I'm used to. So you can put it on this side, whatever. When I'm doing rims and stuff, sometimes I put it on this side. When I'm doing steps, I put it on this side. It just depends on what's comfortable for you, okay? So I'm comfortable doing it. And the reason why I'm comfortable like that is because I used to polish cars before. So polishing paint, stuff like that, was always on this side. That's why I have it there. So I just got used to doing it that way. So my bottom part, so I can get a little bit lower. Some guys will do it like this, or you know, they have their handle here and they'll go down. I like flipping my machine around and doing a nice section to the bottom, and then after that I turn it back around and I move my work. That's just, again, what I'm used to. That's how I do it. So it's whatever you're comfortable with doing. Pressure, most of these 6,000 RPM grinders are 12 to 15 pounds. 15 is a little high. It's probably closer to 13 or 14. But a lot of guys will say, what kind of pressure do you apply? I just basically let the machine do all the work. So anywhere between 10 to 15 pounds of pressure is perfect, okay?
Okay.
Another rule of thumb too is whenever your pad is new, whenever you see your pad, when you're applying pressure, you want to have about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of your pad touching the surface when your pad is fairly stiff and new. Once it's been used up, used a little bit and broken in, it'll soften up a bit. You can easily have 2 to 2.5 inches of the surface of your pad touching the tank, and it's no problem. Okay?
Okay.
mention is when you're chasing your black line, you want to be moving up roughly a ½ inch to an inch at a time. You don't want to move up too fast because you're going to leave some sander marks. Okay, so you want to move up about a ½ inch to an inch at a time when you're chasing your line. 2-3 passes, put more product, and as you see, you just have to touch the pad for a second or less. You don't need a lot of Menzerna for it to work. Okay, it's a greasy product, it sticks to the pad very, very well. The rake when cutting, I just basically rake whenever I need to. So on the cutting step, you know, I might rake once, 2-3 times at most whenever I'm doing a tank. Okay. On your finishing step, it's totally different. You have to rake a lot more, but on cutting, a couple times per tank is fine. Unless your pad is getting caked up, then it doesn't hurt to rake. Just me personally, I just don't do it very often on the cutting step. Okay. And then travel speed, you know, you just sort of kind of have to. That's another thing too. You know, a lot of guys they'll leave some sander marks behind. So a little trick for that not to happen is just look at your work. So look at different angles. Because sometimes the light, you look at it like this and it looks awesome. And then all of a sudden you stand up, you look at it at a different light, and you'll see some sander marks, you'll see a little bit of hazing. So if you just move around a little bit and look, if it looks good, keep going, keep doing what you're doing. Okay? So I'll do another little section here, just I'll probably go about to here and I'll let you do some of the top.
Cool.
you can see that there's still a little bit of pits and stuff like that, but I mean, those are some of the deeper stuff. This is an older truck, so, you know, that's normal stuff. You can definitely sand all those out if you want to really take the time and effort to get all that out, but it's not necessary. Cool. Okay, so this is a common mistake made by a lot of guys. You're leaving some sander marks a little bit just because you're going a little bit too quick. So slow down on your travel speed and put a little bit more pressure. so now that it's all polished up, it's all cut.
Okay.
When you're doing, like I said, if you do half, it always leaves a line in the middle, right? So
Yeah.
it leaves all these marks and stuff. So what you want to do is you clean up your pad with the rake really, really good.
Okay.
And you don't put product back on, and you just go over it real quick. You're just basically going to be blending it in with your cutting
Okay.
pad. Okay?
Okay. Let's see how that's done. That's how you blend it when you cut it both sides.
Yep, now it's ready for finishing.
Big difference from my tank, eh, when I first started?
No, I believe you that it's gonna be nicer than when it was you.
I get that all the time.
I got it done last year.
This one here, you mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got it done before last year. I did. But it never came out like that.
Yeah, once we do the finishing, it'll pop even more. When you, that other blue bar that I use is, it brings out the depth and the shine, so.
Works miracles.
Yeah.
It's just so nice to see a tank after so many times pressure washing it and trying to get it clean yourself and then to see it like that. Now when I wash the trucks, you're actually gonna see a big difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Sweet, so that's just a blend like that. Okay, that's pretty
Yeah, see, it already cleans it up.
Quality made in Germany. Well, I gotta give it to the Germans. Gotta give it to them. Brass,
Okay.
you can polish brass too?
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah, copper, bronze, you name it. Yep.
Gee, I didn't like it. Oh, I like this.
Okay, so now we're at the step where we're going to be doing the finishing. And you want your machine to be at 1800, between 1800 and 2200 RPM is your sweet spot.
Okay.
For me, when I'm doing tanks and flat surfaces, I find 1800 is my sweet spot. You know, for different, some guys will go a little bit quicker, but don't go over to 2200. If you're doing rims or diamond plate, something like that, you can up your speed a little bit. But I mean,
Because
for
it's
this,
a bit rougher surface
yeah,
to get in there.
thicker aluminum, all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. So, you know, aside from cutting, you don't use the rake very often. Finishing is the total opposite. Every couple passes, you're using the rake. You want your pad to be as soft as possible to minimize the lines that are going to be, you know, left in your aluminum, right?
Cool.
So we're going to be using the blue bar from Menzerna, the 480 BLF. And here we go. Now, whenever you're cutting, your travel speed is fairly slow and steady. This is fast and flowing, so you'll see it's a lot faster, a little bit more pressure. A lot of the pad is going to be hitting the surface, and it doesn't take a lot of compound either.
Cool. Let's see how it goes. Absolutely amazing.
Hey guys, Dennis from DC Supershine. Just want to thank everybody for watching my videos. Really appreciate it, means a lot. If you want to hit the subscribe button at the bottom, and you'll keep getting some of these teaching videos that I've been posting, try to be posting every week. Thanks.